If we want to continue talking about the effects, let's continue with the rhetoric about those who die at sea, which obviously is a tragedy and they all have my sympathy. But this said, we have to talk about the causes of this. If today we still have people leaving Africa, it is due to several European countries, first of all France, that hasn't finished colonizing Africa. There are dozens of African countries where France is printing a currency of its own, the France of the colonies, and with that currency, French debt is financed. If France didn't have African colonies, which it's impoverishing, it would be the 15th world economic power, and instead it's amongst the leading ones because of what it's doing in Africa.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This video that you just saw is about a year and a half old. It's from Italian deputy minister who is telling the truth about France. It is a very rare video because you rarely see them discuss their issues in public. But what he's saying here is 100% true. The French government is still keeping many of the African countries poor with their colonial tax. 14 countries have to give 50% of their income to France every year to held in their bank. And not only that, but French is fighting currently in at least 3 to 4 different countries. If you look at their economy, some of their biggest industries are based on exports from Africa. For example, one of their big industry is running nuclear power plants. But you have to ask yourself, where do they get the uranium? Also, if you go to Paris, tourists, what do they always buy? They go and buy gold and diamond. Where do they get them? And then people visit their art galleries. Where did they get the art? So their industry and their economy is very much built upon African economies. And in order to keep their economy running and in order to keep their position in the top 10 world economies, they have to keep this going on. Now, luckily, it cannot go on. And already African countries are getting out of the CFA, and many of the African countries like Rwanda no longer want to deal with France. And France doesn't have the money nor the resources to keep Africa poor anymore. African governments have too many options. They can go to the Chinese, they can go to the American, to the Russians. They no longer need the French. And the French are very scared and they are very desperate. And you can hear that from Macron's speeches. However, another thing that he said here is that when it comes to immigration, he wants to discuss causes and not effects, which is true. You have to ask yourself, if you're European, why are there Syrian or Iraqi refugees coming to Europe? Well, because you went to their country and you destroyed their country. Why are there refugees from some of the West African countries, from Cameroon, for example? Well, you destroyed their economy and you are fighting in Sahel. You are keeping these people poor and you are forcing them to immigrate. And then when they come to your country, you start to complain. Why are you here? Why don't you go back to your country? Well, I would go back to my country, but you have already destroyed it and you are stealing my natural resources. So me being here is a consequence of your action. And if you want to deal with this consequence, you need to deal with the root cause. And the root cause is the French imperialism and colonialism that they are refusing to let go. So this Italian minister is 100% correct. If you like this video, please subscribe and support your local African content creators. Thank you all for watching.